Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Born to be an 80s gamer, I have the attitude of a 90s gamer and the history and knowledge of a modern gamer. Welcome everyone to August of 1982, where we got spooky, playing The Count, Scott Adams' remastered game. You want to know what's really spooky? Scott Adams' afro. Let's see what's next. The brand new Commodore 64. We'll be right back after this message.
How old should your child be before you buy a computer?
That old.
High school, when he's planning a career. Elementary school, when she can either fall behind or leap ahead.
Just give everyone computers.
Or preschool, to give him a head start. When you buy is up to you. But Commodore makes the decision.
Oh gosh, that's a little too young.
Any other computer. Because it's a 64. It's very powerful. Because it's Commodore, it's very affordable.
Powerful enough for a baby. Everyone should get one. It's the Commodore 64, the brand new Commodore 64, and this is Seawolf. This is another game that could be argued that it's one of the first or the first game for the Commodore 64, depending on what forum you go to on the internet. Let's check out Seawolf, starting with the box. Now, Seawolf is very well branded for the Commodore 64, at least this more modern box. It's the special home version of the Bally Midway arcade game. Not the first time we've seen this one. Seawolf's been around since March of 1976 in the arcades. We've already seen the Seawolf on the Commodore Max machine and the Commodore VIC-20 in June of 1982, so here it is for the first time on your Commodore 64. I like how they did the artwork on the front. We are going to be blowing up some ships. We flip it over in the back, and the box for the game doesn't really tell you about Seawolf. It's more of wanting to boast about what the Commodore 64 is. It offers a full range of peripherals, so buy everything. That's why the Commodore 64 is so cheap, they want you to buy everything else, like the color monitor, 14-inch screen, and outstanding resolution. The monitor has a special Commodore computer circuit with video recorder capability. Oh yes, right? And then we also have the disk drive. Make sure you buy that one for your 5 1/4 floppy disk. Stores 170K on each diskette. Ooh, and the graphic printer and the modem and the data set. So this really doesn't say anything about the Seawolf at all. But notice it has a copyright of 1981, even though Commodore 64 was readily available for everyone in 1982. All right. What other artwork do we have for Seawolf? We also have in Europe, if this box looks more familiar, this is published by Handic. Very, very bizarre and very boring box. They call it Sea Battle. No, we want Seawolf, not Sea Battle. Seawolf? Sea Battle. There's the cartridge we're going to pop in on our Commodore 64 with an example of the screenshot. We also have the manual you would have gotten inside if it was the new rebranded one. How do we load up Seawolf? The C64, turn it off, and then put the cartridge in, then turn it back on. That's how easy cartridges are. You're the commander, and Seawolf puts you in charge of sinking and destroying all enemy ships. They say strategy, but it's really not strategy. This is a true action game. Yes. Ported game from 1976, and it's a classic, at least right here in 1982. You are armed with 4 torpedoes which will reload after fire. Your primary target are the small PT boats which travel quickly through the water. You can choose the length of your playing time. Games vary from 1 to 9 minutes. Wow, you can set the length to 9 minutes in 1-minute intervals. Depress the appropriate TAN function key on the right side of your C64 to set the clock. Now, the function keys are what we refer to now as F keys or function keys, but you have to think of the Atari home computer had option select keys on the computer itself. So it's almost like they're trying to tell you this is kind of like that. Yes, that's true. 90K on the first Atari drive. So it's a little bit more they can hold on the Commodore 64. You can play Seawolf using the game paddles, and that's how we saw on the Commodore Max machine and the Commodore VIC-20. Plays really well with paddles too. There's the score for points. Plug the paddle into port 1. So glad they tell us that. You get mixed up on the Commodore 64. Which side do I plug it in? Let's pop it and play Seawolf, developed by Dave Nutting Associates, published by Commodore Business Machines in the beginning of August 1982. This one, as far as I know, is developed by the same people that brought us Seawolf in the arcades. Very nice. Yeah, that's true. I think the first ones were a single on Commodore 64. I don't think they were all double density. All right, so what do? We can change with the function keys how much time we want to have. We're just going to go ahead and start the game up, and this should look familiar for fans of the show. It's pretty much identical to what you saw and played on the Commodore Max machine. It's a little better graphically compared to the Commodore VIC-20, but this is essentially the same idea. But I love this because if you have a friend here, it is 2-player simultaneous play. I'm in control of only the yellow ship at the bottom of the screen. If you have a second player with another paddle plugged in, you can both be playing at the same time. If you had a Commodore 64, this is like a must-have for a launch title, or one of the really, really good ones, unless you already have the Commodore Max machine. In that case, I feel sorry for you that you got the Commodore Max machine before the Commodore 64 came out. Oh, missed it. So if you look at the bottom, you have 4 torpedoes that you can fire off right now. Watch, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. But then you have to wait 3 seconds for them to load up the next 4, and then once they load, then you can shoot again. It's the same trope we've seen since the arcades, but compared to the Commodore VIC-20, this one allows the missile to slowly fade off in the distance. That feels a lot more like the arcade. That 2-player simultaneous play is what's really drawing this one compared to other games. It is essentially still a fixed shooter, but when you can play at the same time and work cooperatively, it's a little rare to see that. Yeah, this is an excellent game. On the Commodore Max machine, I gave it 4 stars. I'm going to do the same for Commodore 64. Of all the home computers you could play, this is a 4-star title. Very, very well done. And showing off the power, now I wouldn't say the power of the Commodore 64, because it's not doing a lot of the sound. This sounds pretty much the same as the Commodore Max machine and plays the same, even though the Commodore Max machine only had 2K of RAM. Yeah, I'm seeing 4 stars too. Yeah, it's so close to whenever we saw it on the Max machine, I don't know why I would rate this any lower or different. And if there was a guest here tonight, we would definitely be blowing up ships together. You have a slight element of strategy because you realize when you run out of torpedoes, when you have to wait to go for the next shot. It's a definite score driving game, and you can make it competitive with someone else by setting a time limit. Then after the time limit, who's got the highest score, and then boast, okay, I got more points than you, blah, blah, blah. A great time, especially for 1982, and for the brand new Commodore 64, yeah, I would want to have this one right at launch. So much fun. The other thing is the control on the paddles feels really, really good. I'm still going to say 4 stars. Of all the games on all the home computers, we know what's going to happen to the Commodore 64, the best-selling computer model of all time. This is like the beginning. It's great seeing the beginning of such a fantastic system. All right, let's see what's next. Moving on from Seawolf. This is the Commodore VIC-20, and this is Speed Math and Bingo Math. A very educational game. On the left side is all we're going to be seeing or checking out as far as the game itself. Speed Math, games we've seen educational titles since the 70s on games such as the Atari home computer or the Atari VCS, and it's the same idea. So Speed Math and Bingo Math, while it's 2 games, how should I put this? It's marketed well, it has a good manual, but as far as the game itself, it's geared for mostly early childhood as a learning tool. You could say Bingo Math could offer some enjoyment, but we played better educational games and seen better games than this one. So I'm not going to be playing like we do with younger adults or early childhood games. Speed Math and Bingo Math is a lower a game we're not going to be playing itself because we just passed by them. I'd say of all the games you could play on a home computer, Speed Math and Bingo Math is down there in the bad range. It is a very well-programmed game, but I'm going to say 1.5 stars of all the games you could play. Is anybody right now in the chat? I already see Mark throwing 1 star out. Does anyone have nostalgia for this? Maybe they played it and thought, oh man, this was so much fun. Back whenever you were, 5 or 6 years old playing an educational title on your Commodore VIC-20. I don't want to say it's broken, but it is bad. 1.5 stars for sure, at least coming from this side. But that's not all. Another Speed Math and Bingo Math came out on the Commodore Max machine. I feel so bad for somebody in Japan had the Commodore Max machine and was given this game. Maybe this was their only game on the Commodore Max machine. And then later their friends got the Commodore 64 months later. Oh, what a sad time it must have been. So I'm going to say the same idea for this one, regardless of what system you play on. They're pretty much the same. I'm going to go 1.5 stars. I won't go down into broken, but it is definitely a bad title. Oh, really? You're going 1? Okay, we can argue that the 1 star is like in between broken and bad. It isn't broken, but yeah, I'll go with the consensus. This does need to be lower because we have other games that are bad, but this is really not worth the time and effort of everything else you could play. We'll go 1 star of all the home computer games. If someone has a soft spot for it, please drop me a line or send me a comment. All right, after that, let's see what's next. We're now on the TRS-80. This is Stellar Warp. Stellar Warp is a game I couldn't find any box or artwork for except a few screenshots, so we're just going to pop in and play it. This is by Tom Thiel, published by Cosmic Software at the beginning of August 1982. Oh yes, thanks for kidding. Otherwise, we might do that. All right, let's get in this. Stellar Warp's a little finicky. I had some problems loading it and issues with it. So if you want to do for T for top 10, oh, see, it's already doing this where it's one. Wait a second. Did it just say, wow, it just said talking for us. All right, so let's do a player 1 game. Yeah, it's trying to load or save a high score table, I think. But when we get in the game, now you can see we're moving left and right with a very interesting effect. I'm curving up on the left side and the right side of the screen. And when I want to fire, spacebar is working for my fire button. I cannot use, joystick doesn't respond. But a very strange thing where it's continuing to try to save, I think, the high score table to cassette. That's why that dialogue is popping up on the side. But there's talking but no sound programmed in unless I have a bad copy or a different copy of the game. But this offers a few things as far as gameplay that we don't see very often. One is we don't die instantly. If you look at the very top of the screen, we have a life bar for a shooter. And then I'm only moving left and right, but I slightly curve up on the right and left side of the screen. I don't think we've seen any game do that. The only one that does something similar is Centipede variants that give us a little freedom to move up and down, but nothing where it is curving us up, almost like a pseudo half of a Tempest kind of thing, not going all the way around the screen. Yeah, that's all I have. Never seen a game do that as far as shooters go. It is so cool seeing a different take on space shooters or shoot 'em ups. Oh, Space Firebird did that. I didn't think it turned us up to the side so much though, on the left and right side. We got the explosion, but still very bizarre happenings. We haven't had anything happen on this emulator playing any games on the TRS-80. Only this one has done it. And the sound effects, too. We've heard plenty of sound effects on the TRS-80. So if you are more familiar with this title, please let me know. Otherwise, I've tried 2 different copies. They both responded the same way. No sound on the shots, just the voices were in the playing the game. Errol's already thrown 4 stars out. We don't have that many variety of enemies. The talking's there. So cool. And then we have a high score table, which it keeps trying to save the high score table. Well, there you go. Of all the games you can play on a home computer, I want to make sure this is the genuine experience you would have had with Stellar Warp. But unless someone can confirm otherwise, I'm going to say it's still around the average range of all the games so far you could play on a home computer. Mikey's throwing out 4. Okay, Errol's meant 3 stars. Yeah, I've never played this one before. We haven't played a lot of space shooters and shoot 'em ups. There are some better ones, I'd say, that you could play, more like Phoenix variants on the TRS-80. Yeah, I'm seeing couldn't throw out 3. So yeah, I'm going to say 3 stars. Perfectly average for all the titles we played on a home computer. You would have a blast. Not necessarily bad or good, it's right there in the middle. All right, and with that, let's see where we're going now. After this commercial break.
As a man of adventure, do between adventures.
I play Exidy's Venture, the video cartridge that plays just like the arcade game.
It sharpens my reflexes.
Armed only with an arrow, you hunt for treasure, gold, diamonds, and it's
So
not
cool.
easy because you have to get past deadly monsters, goblins, snakes.
Dragons.
Play Venture on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system.
Oh, coming soon.
Dragons.
This is the release of Venture for the ColecoVision, the brand new home console, and the very first time you could play Venture at home. Every other time we've seen it has only been in the arcades, back when we played it in 1981. Let's take a look at the box for Venture. And like the other ones we've seen on the ColecoVision, they have the arcade system right on the front. Plays like the real arcade game, and they even give it a nod for whoever made the game. You can see it's by Exidy, and even in the commercial they advertise it's by Exidy. Yeah, pretty cool how they have a barbarian, Conan the Barbarian kind of feel to it. But we all know I actually got vibes playing Indiana Jones, playing Venture in the arcades, and I think that's what they were going for originally. All right, let's flip it over on the back. Oh, that crisp new box smell. Here's how you play. Winky's back. The heroic adventurer is off to claim the treasures that lay hidden in the depths of the dungeon. In each chamber lies a valuable prize protected by dangerous monsters. Equipped with only a bow and arrow, Winky must ward off monsters to obtain treasure. Use the joystick to control and maneuver Winky through halls and into each chamber. Use the side buttons to fire arrows at monsters. If Winky is successful, he moves out and heads for another chamber and other vicious creatures. In fact, on this treasure hunt, the more he ventures, the more he gains. Ha ha ha, very funny. Plays and sounds and scores just like the arcade game, and once again, it's a win for ColecoVision, coming out with another title. This is the second title for ColecoVision. Let's see if we have any other artwork for Venture on ColecoVision. Yeah, we're going to be seeing that one next. You saw in the ad, the commercial was showing Atari and the ColecoVision, and then they said later is the Intellivision, so we're going to be seeing those pretty soon. Oh, Major Magic. I heard another reference to that somewhere in one of the comments. Maybe it was you, Mikey. So besides the box, we also have the cartridge we're going to pop in by Exidy. Oh, yes. And an example of the screenshot for some Venture. The manual for Venture is pretty similar to the other one we've seen. The only other game we've seen on ColecoVision so far is Donkey Kong. And here's another one. Coleco is trying to pick up as much as possible in the arcades and then bring them to their new system. You can play 1 or 2 players, but it is alternate play and 4 skill levels. Cool artwork is similar to what we saw in the arcades. Yes, Winky's in the deep dungeon laden with incredible treasures, guarded by terrible monsters. You have a bow and arrow and seek the treasures as monsters close in. Guide them through the dungeon rooms, but don't stop to count your treasure until you're through. There's what you need to play, the ColecoVision. And they don't show the add-on yet, but they're going to have that add-on where you can play Atari games on your ColecoVision. So cool. That's true. He doesn't have a knife, right? Yeah, where's the... Oh, we don't have a knife. And where's his bow and arrow? More lies. I thought that we'd have someone else point that out. All right, make sure the ColecoVision console's plugged in. There's the controller. Not quite like the arcade, and not the overlay on the Mattel Intellivision. So why the number pad? You don't have to cover the number pad over like on the Intellivision. For a 1-player or 2-player game, keypads 1 and 8 allow you to select the game option, and then the control stick moves around, and then we have 2 side buttons on each side. Each one will cause Winky to fire an arrow. If you're playing the 2-player game, players take turns, can't play at the same time. Player 1 goes first, and then after that you hit the reset button, the title screen appears and shows you what game option you want, and then it goes into the game. Just like the arcade, you have the top-down view. You go from room to room, and once you go to the room, it zooms in, but not like the arcade. In the arcade, this subtle, like, slow zoom in, the ColecoVision does not. That's one of the differences between this and the arcade, but other than that, this is pretty close to arcade perfect, at least for 1982. Yeah, Ladybug hasn't come home yet. We've only seen that one in the arcades. It's coming soon, though. Yeah, and we know someone mentioned a conspiracy like Coleco, the company, was releasing it on different platforms, but they made the ColecoVision look really good, close to the arcade, and every one of them, not even close. A big one is Zaxxon. Zaxxon, when it's released on the other systems, it's almost a totally different game. It's like you're not playing Zaxxon. But I digress because we haven't seen Zaxxon come home yet. After you select your game, the treasure block screen appears. Question marks in the screen are replaced with treasures every time you earn them. And then you explore. Like they're showing the first room you go in the hallway, you're a small dot that just moves around. And then don't go to the hall monsters or you'll lose a life. You have to try to avoid them. You're running away, pseudo stealth style. And then when you go in the room, you search around for the treasure, and there's always different puzzles and traps, which is why I liken this to akin of Indiana Jones rather than Conan the Barbarian. Yes. If you find that emoji, let me know. Oh yeah, these arcade ports, we've only seen Donkey Kong so far, but this one's another really, really big one. So you move into one of the dungeon rooms, capture the treasure within. If you need to defeat monsters, you can. In some rooms, monsters appear or disappear at special times, like in the Cyclops room. They even teleport around from place to place. Really hate those. Try to capture the treasure and eliminate the monsters quickly. If Winky stays in the room too long, a hall monster appears and tracks him down. After he sees the treasure, you can go on victory in another room, i.e. the hall monster is another Evil Otto. Or if you want to go even more rare, Evil Evan. Only people that have watched the show will get that one. Enter all the rooms on a level. After you seize the treasure and left the room, you can never return. When you capture all the treasures on one level, you descend deeper and deeper into the dungeon and get more and more dangerous adventures. You can replay with different skill levels, and it shows you on whatever level you're playing on, the monsters and treasures, how many points you're going to get. So if you go to harder difficulty levels, you get more points. And you get bonus multipliers that'll be at the top of the screen, and they decrease as you play. If you complete a level, the points you've earned for that level are multiplied by the bonus multiplier. You got to get the points. It's 1982. There's also bonus winkies, or bonus players awarded to players, multiples of 20,000. And then you have the discovery, the fun of discovery. The instruction booklet provides basic information you need to get started, but it's only in the beginning. You'll find the cartridge is full of special features that make Venture exciting every time you play, because now this is the first time you could play this arcade game at home. If you've tuned into the show, we gave all the arcade games you could play. Venture is a 5-star game. So how does it fare coming home? They'll also have an available version of Vampire, which was a vampire hack, or a Venture hack. Let's pop it and play Venture by Exidy, published by Coleco Industries at the beginning of August 1982. By Exidy. So cool. Yeah, I love the variation of the rooms. Well, we don't have the room zoom like in the arcade. This one still gives us a lot. All right, let's go with skill 1, player 1. If we do 2 players, you're essentially just going to take turns. There's the possibility of all the treasures to collect. And there's little Winky. I'm now a tiny dot at the bottom of the screen. Let's head into room number 1. We have no enemies coming at us now. So the look of it is really, really impressive because it's close to the arcade if you're playing back-to-back. The play control is slightly different, and especially if you hold a ColecoVision controller in your hand, you can kind of feel a slight lag. Oh, they got me. So coming out of the top, I should have gone the other way. Well, we have 1 treasure on the top, and you see on the top left, there's the number of lives we have. Let's move from this side. Let's go to this room at the top. Okay, and this one is the snakes. The other thing to consider, like the arcade, when the enemies die, you can't touch their dead bodies. They wait around a little bit, like you can see those 2. They hang out for a little bit. Don't touch the dead bodies. Pick up the treasure, which is an apple for some reason. Let's leave out this side. And then all the rooms you've completed turn a solid shade. So in one regard, if you think of console games, I feel this isn't as smoothly moving as a game like Adventure, War and Robinettes on the Atari VCS. But this one offers you to shoot around. So, for example, you move the joystick. Oh, I better move. There he is. Forgot about the hall monster. No! Okay, he didn't get us this time. All right, we're going to make our way around the side here. I don't think the hall monster appears here. Let's hang around here a little bit and see if he shows up. Yeah, he's not showing up. Okay, we'll go all the way around the outside and avoid the enemies. There we go. And this one is, oh yeah, the trap room. Okay, we'll sneak our way around. And then come out the side. I think this was the safe side. Yes, level's complete. We move on to the next one. This has all 3 maps of the arcade, all 12 tombs or rooms of the arcade. So, arcade perfect for 1982, yes. The only thing that's different is the zoom. As soon as you go in the room, it just flashes. There's the room. That kind of zoom I remember seeing in the arcades when we played a game called Route 66. Oh, this one has a... Gotta get out of the room. And we'll go out this side. I think we're safe. Yeah, that's good. But all the different rooms to explore is such a cool idea. Okay, this one's the moving wall room. So it's great. Yeah, I'm with you on there. The controllers were the weak point of it. People also complain about the Mattel and Television having the disc. I still am a biggest fan of the Atari VCS joystick, so that's one reason why when we play games on the Atari home computer, which uses the same joystick, I kind of rate them a little higher because of the control. Alright, what do we have here? This is the trap, right? Oh, this is getting out. So, we gotta do the Indiana Jones again. Get the trap, and then make our way out of here. Oh, you can't shoot through the dead bodies. Notice how every room has a different sound. So this is another milestone as far as video games with music. Every room's been programmed in a tune or a different sound, very similar to the arcade. All right, we got to make our way to that room at the middle. All right, I'm already seeing scores for 4.5, up there in the best of the console games you could play at the time. I always think to myself when I see a console game now that Pitfall exists. Pitfall is out there, and I gave Pitfall 5 stars. If Pitfall's out there, then I usually compare it to that. So there you go, another level complete. Ooh yeah, we got a bonus life that time, very nice. So if I had any gripe to this game compared to the arcade, it would be the control, and I'll try to show you briefly. When we go into a room, oh, I died that time. When you go into a room and you want to aim, moving the joystick around initially just has you point that direction, and then you kind of hesitate for a second, and then you move, so the moving feels a little stiff. But that'd be nitpicking. To be able to play this at home still would be a fantastic experience. Let's get that one, and then make our way out. I think we're only safe going down. Yeah, that's better than going up. Okay, so let's go to the other rooms. But I mean, look how many levels this has. And if you want to put it in perspective, this is the first time we've seen Venture come home, but we've seen Venture ripoffs for the home computer. The best ones we've seen so far are Venturer on the TRS-80 color computer, and then Fortune Hunt for the Atari home computer. And both of them still are not to this quality of playing with all this substance. I still like Venturer on the TRS-80 color computer, but this official port is done very well. Alright, we made our way out of that one. I don't think I can sneak by that guy, so we'll go around this side. Oh, I get second level spells? Sweet. Oh man, come on, get away from the door, dude. I should have gone around to the other side. Yeah, this was very, very high, and in a way, it's like a subtle evolution to the game Adventure on the Atari VCS. Okay, made it through there. Do we have any traps to get out of? All the constant music, too, makes it feel like you're playing an arcade game. Kind of like their other title you could be playing right now on ColecoVision, Donkey Kong. We don't usually have console games with this much music and tunage. It's awesome. Oh, Space Dungeon. I don't believe we've seen that one. Yeah, it's got more content than the Coco version, but still, if you're thinking of everything you could have been playing at the time, you would have been happy on the Coco playing Venturer. Alright, you can see it. We've now looped. We've seen every room and every level, and playing this as 2-player would have been fun too. Like the score attack, see, you can do more. You run away from these guys. Yeah, this would have been a non-stop playfest. Got it, nice. Oh, the dead bodies. Gotta watch out for those. Past bedtime, right? I can't overstate this enough. Playing on a home console with Donkey Kong's music while you're playing, and this game, all the tunes that are playing, it's like having an arcade game at home. Because the Pitfall we've played is the first Pitfall, so there wasn't that tune that David Crane made up. It was a silent game with sound effects, I mean. But now we have this with sound effects and music playing in the background. It's a completely different experience compared to other consoles. Skip sleep. Alright, we're going to sneak out this side. Also something to note, of all the games we've seen so far, we've had games that are reminiscent of Indiana Jones, but never a true Indiana Jones rip-off video game. There's been some on the Commodore VIC-20 that were adventure-style games, but never completely ripping off Indiana Jones, you know, with a hat or the whip. We are going to see the official Indiana Jones coming up before the end of the year, but this one's close, like being an adventure, going into tombs, finding treasures, avoiding traps, things like that. That's true. It's not what we're going to hear on the Atari VCS. If I'm thinking of the perspective of seeing the launch of ColecoVision right now, it feels to me ColecoVision can do no wrong. Of these two games, these are like must-haves of all the games we've seen on a home console. Oh yes, I'm probably going to need help with that. Plugging in the two controllers and working the Indiana Jones game is going to be interesting. Because this one's a breeze. You know, you have one joystick, well, sort of, using the term loosely on the ColecoVision. And then one joystick, and then you can use either button on either side. Oh, that's right. And we are going to see the Atom. I believe, is that 1984 when the Atom first is released? There's going to be some cool ones later that the Atom comes out with, their like special editions. Another life at 100,000? Sweet. Now, I'm playing on difficulty level 1. They do give you options, and when you go higher and higher difficulties, it gets fast. You have to really be on your game with the aim of the arrow. So if you think to yourself, oh, Chrono's doing so good because it's easy, it's because I'm on difficulty 1. If we go higher, then you can see, you'll get a challenge. Come on, guys. They're all guarding the door. You have no way to attack. You have to just avoid them and sneak by. So I had to lure them away from the door. I can't even get by them. Come on. Let's see if I can sneak by right here. Nope, nope. All right, I'll get them over on this side and see if I can go fast enough before they go back to the other end. Go, go, go. At least there's no hall monster or wall monster, whatever it was called. And I like how you get William Tell, is that William Tell's Overture? Or every time you pick up a treasure, another bonus, having music as a victory. It keeps you going. You want to see more, you want to play more. At home now. So there you go, a quick taste of playing Venture. Even though I'm with most of the people in the chat, I'd be playing this. If this was August of 1982, I'd be playing it all night. Oh yeah, we haven't seen it yet. We've only seen a few launch title or games you could play around launch of the Commodore 64. All right, so of all the games you could play on a home console, I gave in the arcades last year, Venture, 5 stars of all the arcade games you could play. I'm going to say again, with Donkey Kong, this is one of the best games you could play on a home console. I'm going to go 5 stars. Venture is so much fun. I'm a big fan of it. I saw lots of 4.5s, and I know what's going to be coming later in 1982, but I'm still going to say this needs to be on the list of one of the best games so far you could play. 5 stars for Venture. Oh, yes. I see Mark's going 5 as well. All right, after that, let's see what's next. We're going to the Commodore VIC-20, and here is VIC-20 Chess. I know what you're thinking. We've already played chess on the Commodore VIC-20. It's not the last. Here is yet another variation of chess. In the United Kingdom from Bug Byte Software. You need 16K expansion on your VIC-20 to play this one. So bear that in mind. We've played some other ones stock, so here's the expanded one. Let's pop it and play VIC-20 Chess by Bug Byte Software at the beginning of August 1982. Now, how do we want to play? You can only play one player chess for this. We're definitely going to go white. And then look at the skill levels. You have up to 9.99 skill level. I don't want to select that one because it does take a while, but I will say let's do skill level 3. So we're not going into the bare bones bottom of it. Yes, so this is not, to my knowledge, not Sargon Chess's engine. It's a different one that they made up. So for this one, you have to do the coordinates again for chess. There is no interface to move around, even though we have seen using like the Commodore VIC-20 joystick chess. So same thing on Atari chess, or on consoles, we've seen be able to move around and select the pieces you want. All right, so we want to move, let's say I want to move B1 to C3, and then it's going to take my knight, move that piece to the place that I want. And then the computer does its move. Now, I'm picked skill level 3. When we've played live chess games on the show, we've taken a minute or two. I think the last one we did on the ZX Spectrum did take a while to load, and that's per the norm. Right now, if you want to play a solo version of chess, you're going to wait around a while. Have some tea, make a sandwich, and then it's going to do its move. So we move G8 to F6, waiting for it. Anytime now. Anytime now. Do I have to push a key? Why is it not moving? Enter? Oh, I did. Okay, so it was telling us what coordinates the computer finally figured out, and I had to push a key to let them do their move. I see. So that way, when it's our turn, we can do ours. But this is a 2-player, so this has no 2-player functionality. This one is strictly a 1-player game. Yes, we will get to ET too. Oh, that's going to be an interesting one. All right, so moving next, let's go D2 to D. Let's see if it does the double D4. D2 to D4, got it. And then the computer does its move. We wait a little bit. Maybe go do some work on our motorbike. Change the engine oil in our car. And then after you come back, then you do another move of chess. That's how it was in 1982. And nobody complained. Maybe some people did. And nobody better complain now because we're currently in 1982. But see, we're still waiting. It's still figuring out the turn. It's going to tell us, there it is. Did the move? Okay, it did it. Moved its knight. It's bringing both knights out. But that's all we'll do so far for VIC-20 chess. Of all the games you can play on a home computer, the 1-player only is kind of a drawback. I know you want to play chess, on a real board with 2 people. And there's plenty of other games out there that are 2-player, but playing a 1-player chess only is a little rare. That's almost like 1978, 1979 chess that we played on other home computers. So, but of all the games, of everything you can play right now on a home computer, what would you say for VIC-20 chess? I'm still going to say around the average range. I could possibly even go 2.5 stars, slightly subpar, because even if I were to claim this was the best version of chess you could play, would you really even go up in the range of the best game you could play on a home computer? Yeah, you have to be a chess fan. So I'm still going to say, of all the games you can play so far, we're going to go 3 stars for VIC-20 chess. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. That's a good point, too. You have to give it a few games and also on the different ratings if you're going to be a real chess aficionado. It's now time to go to the VIC-20 still and play Vic Panic, not strategy games. Here's the box for Vic Panic, still by Bug Byte Software. And this one's for the unexpanded VIC-20, really epic superhero/fantasy front of the box. Are we beating him with the shovel? Where's our weapon? Oh, that's right. I know why we're beating him with the shovel, because it's a panic game. There's the cassette we're going to pop in. Still in the United Kingdom playing some games with an example of the screenshot. That is awesome. Of all the panic-style games, this front of the box is the most action-oriented. Let's dig them up quick. They're going to come after us. And we also have, a different one for a multi-part. Let's pop in that cassette tape and play Vic Panic by Bug Byte Software at the beginning of August 1982. So if you've been living under a rock, we first saw Space Panic in November of 1980. After that, there's been lots of Panic variants. Apple Panic is a really big one we saw on lots of home computers. We've also seen Alien Panic for the Commodore VIC-20. There's already been a Panic version we've seen on this home computer. And we also saw on the BBC Micro a game called Monsters, one of the better Panic versions that you could play up to this point. All right, so this one is, let's go, F7, and we're in. So it is obviously a Panic-style game. I'm moving around at the bottom of the screen. If anyone mentions Load Runner, I have no idea what you're talking about. There's no such thing as Load Runner yet. And let's see if we can dig a hole. What? Wait a second, that's backwards. So I'm using the VIC-20 joystick, which is nice, but it's when I hold the button down, if I want to dig a hole, I have to hold up. And then if I want to fill the hole, I have to hold down, which has been backwards compared to other games we've seen. All right, we'll leave that one there and see if he falls for it. And then let's come down here. We'll make a pit on this side. There's also no sound, so don't adjust your audio. I'm not getting anything out of the VIC-20. This one seems a little bit more mediocre compared to other VIC games. Apple Panic, we've already seen on the Commodore VIC-20 too. Even though it was originally for the Apple II, I would say they should have called it Vic Panic, like this one. But Vic Panic, though, is a slow... No, the enemies are moving fast, but as far as... Oh, wait, I don't... Oh, I see. You don't even need to use the button. Usually you have to hold it down, but this one, you just have to move the joystick up to dig a hole and then move the character around. You can see how slowly I move, though. It feels very... like I'm very vulnerable. Oh, we got one down there. Uh-oh, he's now moving fast. He's coming after us. He fell in the second pit. Let's see. I don't think I can get him fast enough. Yep, he popped out again. So let's see if this guy falls for the bait. As usual, the enemies in Vic Panic are very similar to Hyonkyo alien enemies. They're all random. You notice how they've been just hanging out on one side of the screen. They're not following me. And the only other one I can think of is on the BBC Micro. Monsters actually had a little bit of, felt like they were a little smarter. But here, no, they're just following a completely random pattern. Oh, I see. That's a good point to think about throwing the dirt the right way. Oh, see, now look how slow my character is. Can I even get up to this before he... No. He latches onto my face. That's awesome. Like it's a face hugger. All right, and you can see the map has changed. So every time that you load up, it's a different random map. Yeah, this is... Holding up on the joystick is the direction I'm throwing the dirt, I guess. But very slow pace, doesn't respond as well as you'd hope. There's other ways and better ways to play Panic games. This perspective, though, is still fresh from the side view. I'm not jumping around like Donkey Kong or a platformer, but for Panic games, yeah, it's too slow. And there's better ones you could play on the home computer. So I'm going to have to say, around the subpar range, it feels like it's either rushed or not as polished as other ones. And even on the Commodore VIC-20, you could play better. Nice reference to Jeremy Parrish there. I completely welcome those. Love that one. Yeah, I'm even seeing bad. Mikey's giving the bad rating around the 2-star. It's debatable. It's still a fresh idea. I won't say bad. It's still. I'll say 2.5 stars. You know, you can dig up the aliens. You can work it. So I'll say 2.5 of all the games you could play so far. Oh, I don't know though. I'm trying to think of. You know, we were rating the other ones around average. So I'll say 2.5 for Vic Panic. What Apple Panic should have been called, but why it wasn't, I don't know. Yeah, I can understand, Mark. Yep, I was frustrated too. Could you tell? This game that we were playing, if you did finish that level, it is have 3 levels. So there's different maps or increasing difficulty. But if you have the patience to get there, in Vic Panic is the question. That's true, and no sound. What a drastic change of pace from what we've seen on the home console on the brand new ColecoVision, right? All right, let's see what is next. Next is the very first issue of Video Gaming Illustrated. Let's check it out. So Video Gaming Illustrated is a brand new magazine. We have not seen this one yet. And I'm excited to show this one off because obviously look at the front of the cover. It's like we're going to the movies to check out Tron. It's the premier collector's edition. Tron is all over the place. One of the very first times they turned a movie or a franchise into what other video games have. So this is lots of stuff to cover. It's a shorter magazine than the other ones we've seen. We'll try to blaze through as quick as we can. But front of the cover always has you enticed with a lot of cool stuff. Like, look at this. Arcade games you're going to be playing in 1983. How do they know what arcade games we're going to play? We know what arcade games we're going to play. And then we have Star Wars and Raiders coming to home to video games. And then strategies to make you invincible. They actually break down video games and how to play them better. Very nice. And then look at this. First look at the Smurf Wars, which I know is coming out soon for ColecoVision. I wonder if that's what they mean. All right, let's flip inside. Hey, we've seen this ad before. It's Atari. They're never going to stop. And over here we have an ad for ColecoVision. Look at that. And all the launch titles, which we haven't gone through, or I don't think that's all the launch titles, but it does have several of the games we're going to be seeing soon. Smurf, Turbo, we haven't seen yet. We've only seen Donkey Kong Adventure so far, but the other ones are coming up very, very soon. And we'll breeze by the table of contents because we're just going to flip through everything that this has. Here's a letter of what this is. What is Video Gaming Illustrated? It's kind of similar to Electronic Games, the magazine that covers everything. Arcade, home consoles, handhelds, and the arcade. It does everything. Love it. There's the editor-in-chief, Jeff Rovin, giving us a nice preview. And here is the eye on what's new. They give a whole spiel on Apollo, one of the very first, after Activision, of the third-party publishers on your Atari with, what is that, Space Chase, which we've seen, and Lockjaw, a nice Pac-Man game to play on your Atari. Very nice. And then it has a few shout-outs of the other games we're going to be seeing later by Apollo. We've already seen about 5 or 6. It's the second, maybe even third, first-party publisher for the Atari. All right, let's flip on. You can see what's... Oh, look at this. Everything that's coming out. There's Racquetball. We've already seen that one, too, by Apollo. And then over here is the Casey Munchkin scandal, you know, copying Pac-Man with a awesome, crazy, freaky artwork of Casey Munchkin there. Eating Pac-Man. Poor Pac-Man. They haven't redone it yet. We have seen the European release, just called Munchkin, on the Philips Video Pack. And that one is slightly rebranded. It doesn't look as close to Pac-Man, but that's what they're going to do. It's just going to be re-released later. Oh yeah, I love Turbo. In the arcades, we've already seen it, and it hasn't come home yet. It's going to be another one Coleco picks up. They're just grabbing the rights to as many as they can for arcade games. So exciting. And then look over at this. The IntelliVoice system module we've already seen. And a few games, there it is, B-17 Bomber, Space Spartans, Bomb Squad we haven't seen yet on the Mattel Intellivision. And then here we go, the Odyssey 2 voice synthesizer as well. We haven't heard it talk yet. I'm trying to think if we've... no, we haven't seen the Intellivision say anything to us. It's coming up. They're going to copy the other home consoles. I'm more interested, as far as peripherals go, the adapter for the ColecoVision that allows you to play Atari VCS games. That's the big one. I mean, talking games is good, but I think that one's even better. Yes, which arcade games are we going to play? We're going to play them all, Manly. That's right. Thanks, Errol. Appreciate it. And then over here we have future more games coming out. Empire Strikes Back we've already seen on our Atari, and then Frogger we've already seen on the Atari coming out. They say what's happening. Oh yeah, in 1983 they're saying Spider-Man, but no, it came out earlier than that. It's so tricky to pin down exactly when these games came out. Jaws we haven't seen yet, but then over here James Bond going to be on the 007 game. Parker Brothers, they're saying that's what Parker Brothers is working on now. Oh, yes, the steering wheel add-on. I don't think... Yeah, we're going to be seeing that one later, too. Over here is an ad for the Master Strategy series on the Odyssey 2. We've already seen all 3 titles. Quest for the Rings is arguably the best one. There it is with the full map. That is the one of all the games you could get on the Master Strategy series. I love it. Let's flip on. And here it is, look. The designer. Along with... Steve Lehner is a picture of him designing some of the games. I wonder if this is him working on... Does it say which game he's doing? No, it doesn't. So he did most of these. Quest for the Rings. I wonder if this is him working on the Wall Street Fortune Hunt, which it's not the best. That's the most recent one of all the ones we've seen so far. That's true. It was, as far as the ColecoVision adapter, just 2600 hardware. Yes. Isn't that amazing? How did they get away with that? I can't remember the legality. Did they get... I know they get sued, but did they win or not? I can't remember. So this designer, they're showing Steve Lehner here, but Ed Averitt is one of the main programmers for the Odyssey 2. You could call him the main and only programmer for a majority of the games on the Odyssey 2. He was also involved with this, but yeah, these games are pretty cool. I like the idea of the board game / video game, but Quest for the Rings is the way to go. Oh, look at this. There's a preview for the Odyssey 3 is coming in mid-1983. The Odyssey 3 is what was in Europe as the Philips Video Pack. I believe it was I forget the model, that they did have essentially the Odyssey 3 in Europe only. So we're going to see the release of that system, but we won't see the Odyssey 3 in North America. Sadly, it never came out. Let's flip on. Oh, Vectrex is going to be for this year. Vectrex is released before we end 1982, so be excited for that one. And then over here, look at this. They have a whole profile on Jim Levy, co-founder of Activision, and these are some of the games he worked on. Look at that. There's Barnstorming, which we haven't seen that one yet. We're going to be seeing that one pretty soon. Bridge, Boxing. Oh, look at that. They all look like the classic Activision front of the box. Very nice. To tell you the truth, I think I lambasted skiing. When we first played it on Atari, it was after we had seen skiing on the TRS-80 color computer, which is from a first-person perspective, like a three-dimensional skiing. And I played skiing on Atari. I was like, nah, this isn't that impressive. Only because I had seen skiing on the Coco. Maybe it is busted, Mark. Maybe it is. Yeah, Kaboom's the one where you catch everything. Dropping down, very similar to Avalanche in the arcade. All right, let's flip on. This is all about, they're questioning Jim Levy. Pretty cool interview. And then how to turn your video game into a super gaming center. This is the unit that can make game sounds more exciting. What? What is this? The teledapter. Twice gives you measure control over your tone of the output. Now, this would be helpful for the Odyssey 2, because Odyssey 2 is known to have really high pitches that aren't very pleasant. I've had to adjust sound and audio. If you've seen me play some of the games on the Odyssey 2, originally I kept everything at the main normal levels of audio, and sometimes it would pop so loud, it would cancel out all the audio on the stream. But I've had to change game levels because of that. Oh, really? Laser Blast? Yeah, we played that one. Check that one out from the links down below. Let's flip on to the next one. There it is. The teledapter. Control over the tone and pitch of video game sound effects. Yeah, you really need it for the Odyssey 2 of all the home consoles right now. And they're going to look at other things in the next magazine for different adapters. Oh, and this one, here we go. I'm with them on this. Coleco, climbing towards video supremacy. Coleco is picking up as many arcade licenses as they can to be able to release for the home console. We've already seen the two big ones, Donkey Kong and Venture. Well, just now. Oh, look at this. They give a preview of Telstar. Now, I mentioned this when we talked about ColecoVision coming out, that they're not new to the home console world, but we never played the Pong clones. And there it is. One of the first ones that you could have played. And here it is in all its glory. If you consider the joystick's glory or not. State of the art. ColecoVision. Yes, ColecoVision, I'm with them. Oh, here we go. There it is, Smurfs. Of all the licenses Coleco landed, none have proved more valuable than the Smurfs. We haven't seen it yet, but it is coming up soon. All these are really, really close to the launches of ColecoVision. Yeah, I saw in the chat of climbing and then the crash. We've already seen this bloat a little bit here on the channel. All the third-party publishers on the Atari VCS. It almost seems like the crash is because of Atari. Well, so far. I know we have another console, you know, the ColecoVision that came out, but it seems like Atari really is the really big reason, so at least what we've seen so far on the channel, because there's so many people that are making games for the VCS. Oh, yes, the super controller for the Coleco. Yeah, that did look pretty good. Smurfs when it comes down. Hey, there it is. The Venture. And then look in the top left, there's Mousetrap that they're going to bring home. All these on the Coleco. There it is, Donkey Kong. We'll be seeing all of these. And then Carnival's coming up. And then over there is Ladybug. Now, they're all showing the ColecoVision version. And, of course, because the Coleco had the rights to it, they published it on other home consoles. There's the Atari version of Carnival. And we're going to see Mattel and Television versions, too. Yeah, keep blaming Purina. We haven't seen it yet, Victor. It's coming up. Before the close of the year, we will see it. Oh, but then Zaxxon. Yes. Another one we've only seen in the arcade so far. But Coleco's going to bring it home. Our next article is all about Tron. Not just innovative in the movie, but here on the channel, we recognize how they're turning it into an industry. Like, let's make this not just a movie, but let's make it an arcade game. Let's bring it home to, let's put it on handhelds. It's all over the place. It's one of the very first times we've seen this happen. And because of the success of Tron, and probably because of Disney, we're going to have this happen a lot later. This is the origins of the licensed video game. Oh, it wasn't? Wait, I want to see. You're right. It's backwards. Which one is this? That's not Atari. That picture looks like it can't. Maybe it's the arcade. Is that the actual picture of the arcade? Because the Coleco is mirrored. Donkey Kong's on the other side. That's a good point, Manly. I kind of think of the crash as, it's just mostly in North America, but I kind of want to see if this channel debunks it as a myth. I'm already familiar with the home computers, and I feel like playing everything and seeing everything here on the channel, we're going to debunk the whole crash in North America. It might just happen with the consoles, but I know the home computer world is just going to rage on just fine. All right, so after Tron. Oh, wow, they give lots of spread. Look at that. Jeff Bridges is amazed about the video game Tron, or at least playing the Tron game. Wow, great screenshots of the movie here. Really, really nice. Oh, and here we go, the discs. The arcade version didn't have this in. It was going to be part of all those mini games you play in the arcade, but they took it out and they're going to be bringing it in later. We'll see discs of Tron at another time. And even more. Oh, here we go. How to play Superman on the Atari VCS. We originally saw this, which the date's available in 1978. But look at all this pictures, screenshots around of Superman. The most exciting video game and first video game based on a comic book hero. Coming up soon, though, should be Spider-Man. Wow, how to play and win at Superman. So cool. Here's the ad we've already been seeing from Intellivision, Star Strike. Check it out. Oh, there it is, Laser Blast. I remember someone just mentioned that. How to conquer Laser Blast. The 8th of Activision's games, at least it says here, in March of 1981. So we've already seen Laser Blast. Very nice. Oh, yes, Disney Sleepers. This is the Dark Ages, right, of Disney? If you want to consider Black Cauldron, definitely the Dark Age. And over here we have UFO. Which UFO? The one on Odyssey 2? Which one does it say? It's got to be the one for Odyssey 2, but it doesn't tell us. And there's no box. Look, it just has a cool artwork at the top, but I'm pretty sure they're talking about the Odyssey 2 UFO. And over here we have the Amusement Operators Expo of 1982. Who went to that one? For video game fanatics all over the country. And here it is. What's coming up in the arcades? What is new? Jack the Giant Killer? I don't think anyone's looking forward to that one. If you're familiar with that one, it's not really one of the best ones in the arcades, but it's coming up. And then over here we have some of the ones we've seen. Frisky Tom, we've already seen in the arcades. Locomotion, we've already seen that one. Robotron 2084, already coming out. Now, this is from the North American perspective, so if any of these were in Japan first, we've seen them. Like Locomotion was going to be in Japan first. The Pit is another one. Zaxxon, yes, was in Japan first before it came. But then D-Day, we're going to be seeing that one pretty soon. It's really close. Yes, the Cinematronics Killer. I love it. I know so many things that are going to be coming later on the NES, but way, way later, like years from now. All right, flipping ahead, what else we got? War of the Worlds, we've already seen that one in the arcades. The vector-based game. Boxing Bugs, highly recommend that one. I wasn't familiar with Boxing Bugs. That one's a lot of fun. Jump Bug, again, we saw it first in Japan, is another one that's a title that is a side-scrolling, the first of its kind, where you could jump around. And this one it came out before Donkey Kong. So moving to the right, instead of shooting to the right, you jump to the right with Jump Bug. Then we got Pioneer Balloon. I don't remember that one. Oh, yeah, I remember this. Yeah, this is the one that you're flying around shooting in a hot air balloon. But then Fantasy, we saw this first in Japan. This is like we're ahead of the times because we know about the Japanese releases. Fantasy is one of the first arcade games that allowed you to continue where you left off, and then it allowed you to have every, 10 screens had different songs. Funky Town Fantasy, yes. If you've tuned in, I'm with you on Funky Town Fantasy. And then Robotron 2084, excellent. Excellent in the arcades. And then, yes, of course, there's D-Day, which we're going to be seeing that one, I think, before we end the month. The Pit is up there with Frisky Tom and Zaxxon. Those are the games, the arcade games coming up. And then we have an article of how to win at Defender. You got to have that. And then how to win at Stargate. Check it out. Nice artwork for Stargate. Oh, nice. And here's the arcade cabinet for Stargate. You have to know how to, that's a really tough one. And over here is the ad for the Bally Astrocade. Please, would someone please buy the Bally Astrocade? Maybe they're not. Everyone's still got the Atari. And we have Activision and Coleco handhelds. Frogger, very nice. And Donkey Kong. Haven't seen those on the channel yet. We will be seeing them soon, though. And over here, check it out. Blade Runner. A souvenir magazine. Does that mean it's out in theaters yet? I can't remember if this was a summer blockbuster or it came out in August. Or, September. Yes. Bally Total Fitness made a home console. You better buy it now. They're about to go down. Oh, this is great. Check it out. This is stars or celebrities talking about video games. Here's Charlton Heston talking about video games. It was about 1974 at the airport in Madrid that I first played a Pong game. I had just finished making the Three Musketeers and was waiting for a plane. As it happens, I haven't played a video game since. I find them quite interesting, but they failed to captivate me totally. I don't think we could sit down and play a video game with Charlton Heston. And then here you go, Joyce Brothers. I don't think video games are bad at all. When they take kids away from schoolwork or bring them to a place where they can meet undesirable people, that's a debit. But video games per se are not negative at all. They make youngsters conversant with the concept of computers. Show them that a computer is a friend rather than an enemy. And then we have Martin Landau. They say Mission Impossible is where he's the star. His personal experience with video games is somewhat limited, but I do think that we're developing a group of young people whose coordination is amazing thanks to these games. What fascinates me most are the computer games where 10 or 15 people in different parts of the country can play games together. The only danger I see is that kids who push buttons don't bother to learn other things, whether it's math or literature. As long as video games don't take the place of these pursuits, I see nothing wrong with them. Thanks, Martin Landau. And then this magazine is going to have the continued of the Expo of 82, where they break down what they had seen before. And then we have Defender, tips to beat Defender. So lots of reading if you wanted to know like how to beat Stargate here. Continued from before. Oh, look, they have all the alien breakdowns. So cool. And Defender? Nice. Know your enemy. And then check this out. Look at this. This November, Atari's going to release the new home video game based on the hit motion picture Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's coming out soon. And then CBS Theatrical Films has begun production on a $10 million motion picture called Space Blasters, an arcade adventure with a twist. Space Blasters, I am not familiar with that one. It's supposed to be coming out summer of 1983. Anybody remember that one? Oh, that was Stargates. Thanks, Curtis. They look pretty similar. And then we have over here by Magic, Demon Attack. Yep, it's coming up soon. I can't wait to see Demon Attack. So exciting. And then we have some ads over on this side with continued Superman tips. Loving the artwork from the comics. Very nice. Here's an ad by Apollo on the left side. And then, oh yeah, what's coming up? Or games that will be coming up soon. Look, Keystone Cops, Dune. Probably these are vaporware. They're not really going to come out. William Tell, I think that one's going to be coming out soon though. John Henry, and then Noah's Ark. I don't know what that game is, if it's going to come out later. And then I have no idea what movie this is. This is coming this summer in 1982. The movie I'm not going to see starring Matt Dillon. And on the back we have an ad for Wall Street Fortune Hunt. So cool. All right, so there you go. The very first issue of Video Gaming Illustrated. A great read. Look at all the tips and tricks they had for those arcade games and video games. I had a blast. Now that's where we got to put our video game playing and reading on pause. Tune in next episode for yet another arcade game coming home for the very first time on your brand new ColecoVision. That's it for today, and like I always say, we bring the arcade home. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.